All right, have you been feeling the real estate shift? We are going to talk to local managing broker Ellen O'Day for Lido and Longboat Key, Sarasota area, Florida. And if you want to have a lead up into the conversation, we also sat down with the Florida president, Duff Rubin himself, as well as Southeast Regional Executive Vice President Kate Rossi for coldwellbanker as well. So today we're going to pick her brain, ask her what she's seeing among all the top agents here at coldwellbanker, and I'm looking forward to sitting down with her. And you're going to also want to stay tuned. A really, really great video coming up with none other than the president himself of coldwellbanker, Ryan Gorman. We are so excited to sit down and talk with him. Stay tuned for that one as well. All right, you guys, I stumbled upon this book that I happen to have in my house called Shift by Gary Keller. And I'm going to read an excerpt and then talk to none other than our broker here, Ellen O'Day, about it. And it just says, sellers who are slow to recognize this shift will quickly become overpriced and consequently be overlooked. What do you think about that? What do you think about what's going on right now, this shift we're feeling?
So first, thanks for inviting me. I see that you've interviewed some of the top leaders in our company, which was Kate Rossi, and I know Ryan Gorman's around the corner. We got a text and email from him.
We are excited.
So very excited.
And Kate Rossi?
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah.
I saw that. So congratulations and thank you for inviting me behind all of those amazing people. But so, you know, it's a great question because I already see it. So I have it on a daily basis. We do deal a lot in luxury. So what I see coming in is I put this on the market 2 weeks ago, and the sellers are really upset. They've only had 1 or 2 showings, where 2 months ago they would have had multiple offers in the second or third day. Mm-hmm. So I think 3 weeks ago we had 650 homes, in our inventory in Sarasota, Manatee. And now we have 1,150.
That's double almost.
Right, but so the question really becomes, what kind of inventory is it? And people that had, mediocre inventory, mediocre homes, if you will, they were selling for really high prices over asking. So, now they wanted to stay the season, they wanted to get to May, and did they miss that little window?
Some people are missing the window, don't you think?
I couldn't go on forever. And the market needs to correct. It needs to correct for a variety of reasons. So I think that they better really take a long look at trying not to take such advantage of the market as much as to take advantage of the equity they've earned. So that would be the answer.
I guess as it relates to this shift, if you're an agent like myself, boots on the ground, advising clients, because you talk to all of the top agents in town through coldwellbanker, of course. If I'm working with a buyer, let's say under $500,000 particularly, because I've actually worked with some first-time buyers lately and it's been a little bit of a challenge. What would you say what was your top advice for someone in that category?
So if you're talking about the first-time home buyer, I think 3 or 4 things. So I'm gonna go all the way from the 1 to the 5. Number one, that person has to be approved for the amount of money that they can borrow. So I think what's happening now is that we're seeing the interest rates go up a little bit and people are panicking. Keep in mind, when I bought my house many years ago, it was 9 or 10%, and we were, that was great. 5% is still great, but here's the first advice I'm gonna give you. Talk to your lender. We have guaranteed rate, they're awesome. Mm-hmm. There's other lenders. My own family had to commit to a portfolio loan, which actually got them at 2.75 when the interest rate on a regular loan, conventional FHA, was in the 4s. Okay. We could go to a portfolio loan where it's a 10-year one arm, and they can refinance anytime in that 10 years. Going on to the point of pricing and what should I be looking at as a first-time home buyer, you should be looking for honesty. Yeah. Right? So your agent has to be honest with you. As badly as you may want something, it may not be the right time. So new construction that was built a year ago for $500,000 is now being sold for $715,000 or $720,000. So that first-time home buyer, not only, even if they have, getting that kind of money as a first-time home buyer is pretty tough. So my suggestion for them is to, when you're coming into the market, please align yourself with a professional like you or an agent in your community that, even if it isn't coldwellbanker, someone you trust, someone that knows the community that you live in, because they are going to try to take advantage of you as a seller in terms of getting the most bang for their buck. It's a different world out there, guys. You need to find someone you trust and an agent who's very experienced in our markets, not people that are just moving here and getting into real estate, people that understand
the area. We actually, speaking of, we just put together a deal, actually 2 transactions with some really great referral buyers from past clients that I happened upon 2 different properties. They happened to be in the same neighborhood and they were off-market properties. So I was able to secure those properties for 2 first-time buyers, and it was like the most beautiful thing ever. It just happened to land that way. And so I think, to your point, having an agent who knows the sellers that can have those opportunities that are hidden, especially for buyers in this market, I think is golden.
And what's going to happen is you're going to find a lot of expired properties coming on the market in the near future, and maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't really know, but it's something that the agents should be looking at and brokerages should be looking at in terms to try to pair your first-time home buyer or any buyer. We're still moving 900 people a day into Florida.
It's insane.
The new construction, I think we should really focus on. I think we have to pick developers that are keeping up with the pace. I think that there's definitely a disconnect between the new developments and the new communities. I also encourage people, given the fact that even a new home buyer, the average time that they live in their home is about 6.5 years.
Right.
So I think we have to look at absorption rates in different communities so we can see if the turnover is there for our buyers who are really trying to make that particular community their home based on school or religion or location, job, whatever that is.
Good points, yeah, and perfect example of what you just said, the expireds. I put one under contract. We have since closed that on Longboat because it was taken off the market temporarily, but it just took a phone call. You know, that one extra step that as an experienced veteran agent like myself can offer a buyer that's scrambling with low inventory. I mean, Longboat Key is separate than the mainland, than it is Siesta Key, right? I mean, what about the island properties, like the luxury market? What are you seeing there, like beachfront, still moving?
It's still moving in high numbers, but to give you a lot of credit, and a lot of agents that come into the business, even the experienced ones, they don't call it for sale by owners. They don't call the expireds. The expireds are people that wanted to sell, whether or not selling their home, ultimately change their future plans. That sometimes can rock someone's world. If they're trying to get back to Michigan because their family lives there, and their listing expired and they need that to sell to buy something else. So I think looking at them and making them understand that I'm still looking at you, I'm still trying to pair you with someone, but kudos to you for picking up the phone and calling them, because unfortunately, you have the value proposition, you have the support, but you also have the talent to pick up the phone and the courage to make, it's like the old adage, they're not gonna, people that are selling their home aren't there to hurt your feelings. They're only gonna say yes or no. And I'm sure people that are listening to this and they've listened to Shayla in the past have, never walked into a store and asked if, a salesperson could help them. And I say, not right now, like I'm good. I never saw the salesperson go in the corner and start to cry. They just wait for me to come back, and then someday, I'm going to need them. Eileen Fisher, I didn't need at first, and then I all of a sudden needed her. And that same salesperson, you ever saw the movie Pretty Woman?
I love this story.
So every time I went in there for the first few years, things weren't as good as they are right now. But anyway, I would go in with my friends, I would sit in the white chair, and I would wait to get, for them to buy. And the same girl always came to me and said, "Are you looking for anything?" And I'm like, "Nope, just here with my friends." And then fast forward a few years, I went in and I had $2,000 to spend because I was going to be moving to the Longboat Key from Punta Gorda.
Moving on up.
Right, I was going from to a totally different market. So I went to Eileen Fisher. The same girl was there. She said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Today you can."
I love this story.
And she outfitted me well over $2,000, which is pretty much what I had. And she put all of my things and hung them on a hanger, and I had one bag in my hand and the hanger over my shoulder. I said, "Do you girls work on commission? You ever see Pretty Woman? Big mistake.
This story never gets old. I love that.
Yeah, so it's really true. So when I think about how I've had the courage to do what you're doing, I think it comes from the fact that the worst thing that can happen is no, not right now.
Right.
But they will need you in this market. I was just talking to someone, these people that are coming and saying, "I only want to give you this much to sell my house because it's going to sell quickly." Well, did you hire me to list your house or to sell your house? Because I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
So I think having the value proposition you bring to the table, having the marketing experience that you have, having Shayla as a teammate that can really get out and do the right, you do a great job with the sellers and a great job with the buyers, but you do a great job as a group. And that unfortunately got lost a little bit last year in all the hustle. I think we need to slow down, and I think we need to be very aware that this is how we all make our living, and we're here to protect you. One more story I'll tell you. But the new construction,
I love your stories.
We just closed with our kids. They were a year behind. And I was their advocate. I was talking to the president of Taylor Morrison. I was talking to the superintendent. I was talking to the vice president of construction. I represented them because I registered them. I encourage all people that are building a home, please use someone that you trust as your representative and realtor to go in, because you need an advocate. There are people across the street from where our kids just closed that look like August or September, they think, and it's not going to happen. But we were behind them. So the idea of not having someone out there, this is a different climate. So I really want you to think does not change the price of the house if you have someone representing you and being your advocate. That's key.
All right, speaking of new construction, here's another shift in the market. We talk about shifts, let's get down to brass tacks. And I won't say the name of the builder because I don't want a defamation anything against me. But the local builder, it's actually a national builder, when things were happening, they totally basically cut out the agents, right? Now, what are we seeing? We knew the shift was coming, right? So now they're actually calling agents. They're giving bonuses. They're back to the regular commission at this 1%. That was ridiculous. We can't make a living off of 1%. They're giving buyer credits. What do you think about all that? That was anticipated?
No, you know what I think was bothersome to a lot of people, and especially people that are waiting, is why do they continue to build? Well, because the demand is there. So when we talk about Florida and what the shift means, it doesn't mean people are going to stop coming here. It means that we need somebody to help them come here, right? So, you know, I feel badly for the people that are waiting, but what's happening now is, and I want everyone to really think about this, those people who were building that had a 6 or 7 month window, you know, moved down here into a temporary rental. Then they had to leave when season came. Some have had to go home and leave, you know, one of the parents here to work in a hotel. Everybody's got, that's why I say it's so important to have an advocate, but it's also important during the process you have the right lender, that you have the right team, that you have the right bench, that you have the right attorneys. All of those things will come into play. So I think that we need to be very, very protective of the people moving here, and especially those people that, well, it doesn't matter if it's new construction or if it's a resale. I have a house that could be a resale, but I'm sure many of you that are listening to this now have had a phone call from an agent saying, are you interested in selling your house? Would you like to sell your house, or receive a letter in the mail? You know, maybe you don't think you are, but maybe you need to call a real estate professional to see if maybe this is the time.
And maybe captivate that, you realize that gain on the sale, maybe you can leverage that money by downsizing and putting the rest in the market or something like that. Also, speaking to the rental rates, I saw somewhere, I think it was in the paper, in the Sarasota Herald or the Observer, one of the two, that of course we know that the rental rates have skyrocketed, but they've seen a slight dip. I think it was 3% in the last month or so, year over year. You know, I know that's a problem for some people, and the temporary housing has just shot up, but hopefully there will be some relief soon with the rise in rates and everything. What do you think about that?
So I was one of those people that bought a rental property, and I have my niece is in it and not paying near enough rent. But anyway, I also knew at that time that I could get that rent. But let's talk a little bit about, like, getting to your point kind of from the back door coming in.
Yes.
So people wonder what to do with their money. People worried about, you know, I have my money in real estate. Real estate is brick and mortar, solid. It will always come back. It always does. It's tangible. It's there. It will always be there. You know, but now you have it where, should I now look into investing in? Yes, and yes again.
Long term.
Short, right. You can't, because right now, that's last 10 years was so powerful, and the gains people realized were so incredible. We're in a different 10-year span. This is it's like the stock market is real estate. It's up and down. But the one thing that you can't always count on, and I have this investment property, which I know will not only reap the monthly profit, but I know 5 years down the road when I go to sell it, I'm going to have the equity. Correct. So if I'm an investor and I have X amount of dollars, or you have sold a home and I want to make an investment, brick and mortar, that has always been and will always be what moves the economy. You have the power to do that just by making the purchase, finding a home, and then, you know, charging a reasonable rent. I mean, I could probably get $2,400 for what I have, and I'm charging $17. I know she's reliable.
Family discount.
Well, not only that, but I would have rented to someone I knew was reliable, had a good job, could pay the rent.
You'd rather have that tenant than
yes.
having someone pay and you don't know if they're going to pay on time or keep up the property or whatever.
And 900 people a day are coming to Florida. They're not all buying a house.
And that's not going to change overnight, right?
Right.
This is like the ebb and flow, and there's so many reasons that we could get into. We don't need to get into the reasons of why they're coming. We kind of all know. Check out the latest video we did with top 10 reasons why people are moving to Sarasota, to the top 10 of the entire country. Hopefully that gives people like a little bit of a rundown. I know we kind of went all over the place, but to cover new construction, rental properties, interest rates, advice for buyers and sellers. You know, I'm here as an advocate, whether you're a first-time buyer or in the luxury. I never want someone to mistake that I just do luxury. You know, I never want you to not call me because I market to luxury. Of course, we sell on Longboat Key, lots of snowbirds, but you know, I've been here 20 years. This month, June 2022, marks my 20th year in the business. I couldn't be happier to be here at the #1 market share office in the entire Sarasota, Manatee County area. Thanks to this lady, she wanted me here.
I did. I actively went after you.
Let's not talk about it.
I'm so glad.
I'm so glad.
But so, to just make one last point,
yeah.
I think, because I saw a question you had on the list about the recession.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about that word yet.
Okay, so let's just, you know, kind of discuss that just a little bit. The way things are going right now with the gas prices and the economy and all of the different ingredients we have here causing this recession, I do want to, recession will also bring interest rates down. The recession is coming. Don't let it scare you. We've been down this road before. It's happened before. It is the same as a market correction on a different level. So right now, as we're seeing everything go up, recession is bound to happen.
Right.
Recession will bring interest rates down again. So for those people that go for the portfolio loans with a 10-year one arm, and I want you to remember that, think portfolio loans as the interest rates are rising. Talk to our affiliates, our guaranteed rate, or your bank, whomever you speak to. Get the right loan for you. But remember, when the recession happens and the interest rates come down a little bit, the cost of things will come down, the supply chain will loosen up. This is just a time we've never experienced because we came off of a boom and now it just kind of slipped quickly. But that's where real estate shows its strength. That's where real estate will move the economy. As much as we say about we want new construction, that gets people to work.
Yes.
That moves the, we need electricians.
We're employing so many people when we have a transaction. Yeah.
Yes, like we're and Kate Rossi's famous for saying that. She is famous for that, saying that that real estate hasn't always will move the economy.
Yes.
Whether there's a recession or gas prices are high, they're still coming to Florida because we're the best place to live.
And real estate, it's usually the best indicator of where things are headed in our segment, right? So recession, I don't know about you, but do you think that this will be like a short-term kind of thing, or do you think it'll be more long-term?
I think we have a couple of years. We're gonna have a couple of years where we can't. Prices aren't gonna come down in like $2 a gallon. It's not gonna just happen.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. There's a process to it, and again, I'm going to keep going back to that. If you have the money to invest, we've all lost a little bit of our savings or our 401ks or whatever. But let's just look at this. If I wanted to buy a property right now, facing the recession, coming into this market, and I've got $200,000 equity in my house. Currently, I'm looking for property in Florida. I'm looking for property in North Carolina. I'm going to invest my money in real estate.
So you're going to take out the HELOC to use? Okay, yeah. Some people that's a good move for some people.
Because when you go to places that maybe people can get to that are a 6-hour drive. If you remember back in 2008 when the crash happened, they came out with the horrible word for me. I was a hotel owner. Staycations. Stay home, do the day drives. I'm trying to find something either 6 hours away, which is like an easy drive, or find something here in Florida to be able to accommodate all those people moving here. It's brick and mortar. We'll move the economy. We're always going to be here.
And you're at the end of the day, you're throwing money away on rent. Really, you're not going to get that money back. when you're in real estate, eventually you're going to at least get something back, hopefully, if you've done it, in a smart way and a long-term mindset, right?
Right.
So we could go on and on and on, I think, but, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
appreciate
having
it. And again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Click the link below, shaylatwit.com. Please stay tuned we are so excited, like I said, Ryan Gorman, president of ColdWellbanker for the entire United States. Click, subscribe, like, comment, interact with us. Thank you.